Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, Internet's busiest music nerd. And very exciting news, I am happy to tell you that this review right here, is going to be 100% meme free and Cal Chuchesta free as well. So for those of you who have been looking for the reviews to take a more serious turn, there are going to be no memes in this video whatsoever, no memes at all. Not a single freaking meme is going to make its way into this video. I won't allow it, and I'll make sure that that's the case. Okay, as it would seem, eliminating memes completely from the equation does not allow for my appearance in the reviews, so I will say that this review will be 75% meme free. No, okay, all right. They will be 50% meme free. I am going to review for you this new Busdriver project, Thumbs. Busdriver is an LA rapper, producer, Hellfire Club affiliate, and he is fresh off of a fantastic full-length album titled Perfect Hair. He's been at it since the 2000s, the late 90s, but his career in this new decade has seen another sort of wind, a fresh breath of air, because these recent projects of his have been some of his strangest and most challenging albums, like Bows and Arrows, as well as Perfect Hair, like I just mentioned. Albums where Busdriver continues to employ his very odd, speedy, one-of-a-kind flow and voice, but also experimenting with singing and just some really off-kilter and strange experimental production. So, with Perfect Hair being one of the most electrifying and intergalactic projects in Busdriver's catalog thus far, what is next for him? What is he going to do, especially since he's dropping another project over here just a year after the release of Perfect Hair? So again, this thing is titled Thumbs. Though it is online for sale, it has been described to me as a mixtape of sorts, and I could definitely see as to why that is. The recording on this thing is raw. The flow of the songs on this thing, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I wouldn't say there is as much lyrical and sonic cohesion as there was on Perfect Hair, though I do think stylistically Driver seems to be coming from much the same creative headspace. And finally, another thing about this project is that it's super aggressive at points, definitely over the top. I think it tries to make up for a lack of finesse with an overabundance of aggression and volume at some points. Miss me with that! As I said, a lot like with Perfect Hair, on Thumbs, you're going to catch a lot of offbeat instrumentals with some jazzy melodies here and there, futuristic glitches, choppy samples. It's a wonder any rapper is spinning rhymes over any of this stuff, much less Busdriver. But if one rapper was going to, it would be Busdriver. And of course, on this project, he continues to bring his really expressive voice, his manic flow, and there are plenty of highlights to be had, especially lyrical highlights right from the start of this thing, where Busdriver is rapping about on the intro track how the feds are using your phone data for revenge porn. I also like Left Coast rapper Zero's feature on this track as well, although overall I would say this song is kind of a sleepy start to this project. The following cut is much more active though, and in a way I think kind of a tribute to a historical figure who helped end the slave trade in Britain, if not in tribute to him, at least a character portrait that is based off of him or in reference to him in some way. And that's certainly how the song kind of starts, although after a while it sort of seems Busdriver goes off in his own lyrical world, but he does seem to center around a lot of racial issues as he's rhyming. He's just not so direct with it a lot of the time. And with Hyperbolic too, this track is so strange to me. Could be exciting for some Busdriver fans, but maybe polarizing to others. For me, I found the track kind of grating, but I have to acknowledge just how over the top and aggressive this track is. In a way, I think Busdriver's flow is a little Danny Brown inspired, which I wouldn't be too surprised by considering Danny's appearance on Perfect Hair Forever. I mean, obviously Driver respects what Danny does in his music, and going this aggressively, which isn't that typical for Busdriver, at least not as aggressive as this track goes. It was definitely interesting seeing him kind of go down that road, although I wouldn't say, again, it was all that visceral for me. More it was kind of patience testing. And that's the thing about Busdriver sometimes. I love his eccentricity, but I guess it's just a bit of a double-edged sword. I am just in awe of, I guess, how fringe some of his music can sound, and actually is. But then there are times where he's just gone so far out, he's sort of lost me a little bit. Still, though, I think the project hits a stride when it hits the song Much. Not only does the track have some really great production behind it, but it's this amazing moment on the record where Busdriver is equal parts odd and accessible and catchy. I love the earworm chorus on this thing. I think you're doing too much. Really great single from this thing. And the next song, Ministry of the Torture Couch, featuring the frontman of Future Islands under his rap name. His feature on this track is great. There's a nice beat switch up at one point in this cut. And Busdriver is focusing on cops, police brutality, the systematic racism that sort of comes from the law enforcement side of our government. The issues of inequality addressed on Perfect Hair continue to ripple onto this project over here as well. Also, King Cookie Face, that sort of character name that Busdriver was throwing onto himself on that last project, appears here as well. Which again is another reason why I don't really see this as so much its own separate project as much as I do maybe a series of afterthoughts. Maybe not necessarily leftovers, like songs that didn't make the cut for Perfect Hair, but maybe Busdriver kind of squeezing the last drops of life out of the sounds and ideas and lyrical concepts that he explored on that album. Which is mostly why the second half of this project, after the very short interlude skit, kind of loses me, because this is where I think maybe the least interesting of all the material on this tape ends up. I will say before I go on, I do love the cut featuring Anderson .Paak as well as Milo. Anderson's vocals are fantastic on this cut, and I love that we're seeing such a great singer appear on all of these, not just mainstream, but underground records as well, and it's going to be interesting with these two new tracks out that he has just had released that are very good, what he's going to be doing with his next full-length project. And Milo came on first on that track, and it actually instrumentally reminded me of a song off of his Cavalcade mixtape. Seems like it would have fit into that pretty nicely, especially with the psychedelic folk vibe going on with the beat. And emotionally, I think Milo really brought a great verse. I mean, he was so convincing on this song. But the second half of this project is really where it starts to lose me. The song featuring Daveed Diggs of Clipping fame. I was pretty excited to hear this song. However, I don't really think there was all that much chemistry here, and Busdriver is just kind of going at Millionaires, but with a different angle in mind lyrically on this track, and musically and groove-wise on the instrumental too. This track's not even really doing it for me, and this is one of a few tracks in the second half here where I feel like the song is so short that it doesn't even really bring that much impact, which is also the case on the track Del the Funky Homo Sapien appears on this cut for about 1 minute and 50 seconds. And yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a cool change of pace. I like Del the Funky Homo Sapien. Oh. Also in the second half here, Busdriver indulges in a series of really fast flows over some obnoxious break beats and really difficult vocal harmonies that are just really hard to digest, as well as a song with Jeremiah J, which was just incredibly sleepy. As I read into the reasoning behind the album's title, I sort of started to feel like it was very fitting, because thumbs being this thing that we sort of like and dislike things with, That's kind of what was running through my mind on this record. I mean, half of it was really thumbs up, while the other half of it was really just losing me. In some ways, it almost felt as if a couple of EPs of extra tracks had just been mashed together into one project. Which, if you're a hardcore fan of Busdriver, is completely fine. I have no doubt in my mind that people who have enjoyed Perfect Hair, enjoyed Bows and Arrows, and of course enjoyed plenty of Busdriver's 2000s era stuff will get a lot out of this project and will probably be excited to see him drop another series of tracks. But I'm sort of waiting, I guess, for the next reinvention period, because what makes Busdriver interesting and exciting to me, even through those times when he comes out with releases that I don't care for, is I know something different, something new, something challenging is going to be around the corner. I'm feeling a strong 6 to a light 7 on this thing. Transition. Have you given this album a listen? What did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? Ghostface. And what do you think I should review next? You're the best. Anthony Fantano, a Busdriver forever.